I'm recording now.
Okay, we're starting. We have this bigger paper over here. If you want to use this bigger paper, you can use this and fold it and fit 4 drawings, 2 per side. Okay? If you want to do the math, you can try your best to center it, or you could just take this paper and say, well, it's just 3 inches smaller than the old paper. So you could just take and draw a line there and kind of use the little column for your Cornell notes on the right side. Okay? So if you want to take any notes, you can do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? This paper that I have over here, they're going to throw away because it's too big. It's not 8.5 by 11. It is 8.5 by 14. That gives us 3 inches on the side here if you want to just put down notes, anything you want. I'd prefer, if you're going to do the notes, do the Cornell notes. You can jot down stuff there, hints for making the next drawing better. Okay? So what I'm going to do is fold the drawing in half, and I was saying you can still do the drawing on this piece of paper, which you'll be able to see better once I start here. But I liked what Jeremy did yesterday. He turned the paper this direction, and it looked a lot better than the people that had been doing the drawing upright like this. Okay, we had to do a little math to figure that out, but I will say this: if you follow along on this math today, in your books on page 125 to 133, they go through multi-view drawings. Okay, on the last 2 pages, all of the measurements are done on how to figure out centering the drawing on other papers. Or if you're just starting, you can use this pink sheet as the steps for the drawing. This pink sheet has all the steps: border, title block, centering box, complete the 2 given views, complete the 3rd view by transferring points, label the views, label width, depth, and height. Okay? First thing I want to mention, absolutely no talking while we're recording. If you're talking while I'm recording, I'm going to give you a choice card after I'm done. I'm not going to stop right then to do it, because then I just have to kind of interrupt my recording. So pay real close attention. I know this is going to be fast, but that's the idea. So the people that want to get started can. I'm taping the drawing down. Okay, make sure it's parallel to your T-square if you're using a T-square. Earlier I was doing a drawing and I just taped it on the top of the laptop. I made a little custom T-square here, and I taped it on top of the laptop. And you don't always need a regular desk to do your drawing. You can kind of improvise a little bit. Okay, so this is also one that I use for the overhead projector there. Okay, we first look on our pink sheet. It says step 1 is to make the 1/2 inch border. So I mark 1/2 inch around all 4 sides. Remember, the border is just like a picture frame. It is like a picture frame of your drawing. Make sure that your drawing is taped down straight. Okay, I'm using the drafting machine here, and it's not locked in, so I gotta lock it in. It's probably the only time I use this drafting machine. Kind of the progression of drafting went from T-square and triangle to the drafting machine, which we have a couple of them. They're $375 though, so we don't have a lot. We have one here, one over there, which I'll probably clear my desk off up here and let you use one of the 2, or I'll clear that desk off and say if you want to try that drafting machine, you can use it. It went from T-square and triangle to drafting machine to computer-aided drafting. Okay, I'd like you to experience all 3 of them if you get a chance. Okay, so now I'm doing my 1/2 inch border. Normally you make these lines real light to start with, and then you come back later and darken them. Okay, are you guys able to see that okay, that are recording? I just made 1/2 inch border on all 4 sides. Okay, on the bottom I do my title block. Title block dimensions are on this pink sheet as well. You should just know the title block's 1/2 inch total. The dimensions are 1/16 of an inch on the top, 1/16 on the bottom. All of the other ones are 1/8 of an inch. Easy way to remember that is every small line between 0 and 1/2 of an inch will get what's called a guideline. The guideline are just there to guide your lettering so it's not crooked. If you look at an architect's title block, they always have guidelines so that you have nice light lines in between there so that your lettering is not crooked or slanted. These lines normally are done as light as you can make them, just so that your lettering, like I say, is straight. Okay, I'll come back, and at the bottom of the pink sheet it says what you put in there. You can put your name in there, you can put the school, date began, date finished, and that is the one thing on a drawing you can put in pen, because some people take drawings and steal them from other people and they erase the name and put their own name on there. So I say if you want to put that part in pen, you can. Part of the reason I do the guidelines is because if someone does an eraser mark in there, I can tell it's been erased because they've also erased the guidelines. So in here I would just put my name, my information about the drawing, like what drawing number it is, that dimensions on that pink sheet. I put the date that I began the drawing and the date that I finished it. Okay, now step 2 on the pink sheet. I do the centering box. And yesterday we figured if we were doing that centering box, lots of times I like to lay out all my dimensions at once. So like I'll put my ruler across there, and you can use the old dimensions if you want. Jeremy, didn't we say about 1/4 of an inch on the sides? Okay, so I say about 1/4 of an inch on this side. I know the front view is 5 inches long, and then 5 1/4 there, and then about 1/4 of an inch from this side over here. You will find that you really need to learn to read the dimensions. Was it 1/2 of an inch? Okay, 1/2 of an inch from the top view, 1/2 of an inch on the bottom. Okay, and then I also know that the bottom object is 2 1/2 inches tall, and the top, the depth of it is 1 1/2. So I'm going from 1 1/2 to 2. Okay, this is going to be a little bit crowded, but it will work. Okay, we basically block this in first, lightly. This you would draw as light as you could. I do all of my horizontal lines first, and then I come back and do my vertical lines. Okay, now I'm going to come back, I'm going to do drawing number 4. If you want to see where drawing number 4 is, if you flip in your book, these pages go over multi-view drawings, which means more than one view. It will go over the different views of the object, 128, 129, 130. If you haven't read that or you need a refresher, you can read that. Page 130 has the whole summary of this unit in that one paragraph. Each view will show a minimum of 2 dimensions. 2 dimensions. The drawings we're doing now are 2-dimensional. Okay? The drawings I showed you yesterday are 3-dimensional on these perspective drawings. Okay? That's 3-dimensional. They show depth, width, and height. Feel free to color your drawings as much as you'd like. On page 130, they show how a lot of people do the views of the object in the different colors. Like the blue view is top, the red view is front, the side view is green. Okay? We're going to do the 3 views of this block on the paper now. This is called my centering box. It's on step 2 on the pink sheet, the centering box. On here it says 1 1/4 inch from the side. Since we're using the paper like this, we're just going 1/4 of an inch on each side and 1/4 of an inch between the views. There's a whole lot of math there. And like I say, we have all different levels in here, so some of you guys are going to get it the first time around, some won't. but the object is to challenge you but not overwhelm you. If you look on 132, it goes through the proper centering of an object, and 132, 133, centering it, and then on page 134, 135, it starts with the drawings. If you're new, you'll start with drawing 1 and work your way up. I said you could start at drawing 4, which is the one I call the square donut. Okay? The square donut drawing. Is that you, Derek?
Yep.
Is it still recording?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Okay, I have my top view, I have my front view, and I have my side view. The 3 views of this object. Okay, that's the outside. Most of them start with 3 blocks like that. Top, front, and side. Top, front, side. Okay, now is when every object's a little bit different. Okay, like this one has a hole in the middle, and on the top view it says that that hole is 1 inch. Remember, I'm doing drawing 4. 1 inch from the right side, 1 inch from the left side. Okay, those are going to be hidden lines on the top view and the side view. They are hidden. On the bottom, they're visible lines, because on this view you can see. On this view you can see the hole in the middle from the front. Top view, you can't see the hole. Side view, you can't see the hole, so they're hidden lines. Okay? Now I'm going to actually draw on the side view the dashed lines for the hidden line. Notice how I line it up. Same on my front view. And I just make a light, what's called a guideline there. Because I know that if that hole is a 1/2 of an inch up on the side view, it's going to be a 1/2 of an inch up on the front view. Here, 1/2 of an inch up. And I'd lightly sketch in about where it is on the front view. Now for the top view. Hidden lines, because the top, you cannot see that hole in the middle, so there'll be a dashed or hidden line. At the same time, I project it down to the front view. At the same time, I project it down to the front view. Now we have the 3 views of our object. Top, front, side. I would like you, for the first 3 drawings you do, label those views. Like right front on here, right top, and side. And when we label, we use all capital letters. There is a certain font they use. In the book, it talks about single stroke Gothic lettering is the font that architects use. I'll just say make it all capitals. That'll work. Okay, last thing on the first 3 drawings, I want you to label the dimensions. Okay, going straight across here, this dimension is called width. So make dimension lines, and for now you can just put a W there. We will get into the measuring to where we eventually put 5 inches there. I want you to just know that's called the width. This is called the depth. Okay, across here. These are 2-dimensional drawings because each view shows 2 dimensions. Like the front view shows height and width. The top view shows depth and width. The side view shows depth and height. Okay? If if this were three-dimensional, we could take the front view here and add depth to it. That would be a three-dimensional drawing like I showed you yesterday, whether it's an oblique, a perspective, an isometric. Okay? That one paragraph, so on drawing on page 135, it shows all the different objects. 132, 133 shows how you transfer the points. Flip back to 130 and 131, where it's showing you how to transfer the points, what we call depth, width, and height, and how, if you were to take the object and unfold it on the previous pages, it takes that object as if it were in a glass box and you unfolded it. That is what you would get when you unfolded it. Andrew, can you grab me that white 3-ring binder out of there? Because I made some examples of this. On page 130, it says transferring points. Right here, this paragraph says it all. Each view will show a minimum of 2 dimensions. Any 2 views of an object will have at least 1 dimension in common. This is a really important concept. They each show 2 dimensions, width, height, for instance, and every one of the views has something in common with the other 2. That's how they can only give you 2 views, and you can always finish the third. Top view is the same width as the front view. Side view is the same depth as the top view. These little pieces of paper here explain exactly what the object does. You take the object as if it were in a hinged glass box, unfold it after you projected the views onto the side, and there's really 6 views of an object, but 3 of them are pretty much repetitive of the other 2. So really we only have to do 3 views to get the point across. Okay? End right there, please.